What's up, guys, and welcome back to another NFL Fantasy Football recap video. This week, we're going to be talking about Week 13 in the Andy Dalton Fan Club and the Gouldy 12 League. We're going to see who won, who lost, who balled out, and who could have done more with the ball. Let's get straight into it. Here we have the Andy Dalton Fan Club. I've got to be honest, it feels good to win again. For a large portion of this game, despite winning by 40 points in the end, I thought I was screwed. So let's go have a little look at how I ended up not getting screwed. Okay, at the top, Baker Mayfield, one of his worst games of the season. I believe his second worst game of the season, but he did get hurt, and I think some things went wrong. Although he did still lead a game-winning drive to beat them. Don't really know what's happened here, but it didn't go very well. Hopefully he's okay for next week and back to his best. Kyler Murray had a pretty good game, 20 points. James Cook and Bijan Robinson are my fucking heroes. I'm thinking at the end of this season, because I want to do this for the following seasons going forward, of starting a Hall of Fame for people I have in my fantasy teams who are just like people I will always love and have a special affinity for. Bijan and maybe even James are making a special case of being one of our first inductees. Both of them absolutely balled out and basically won us this game. Both breaking 100 yards, both scoring a touchdown. Absolute heroes. Cooper Kupp, really poor game. 2 points. He got targeted a few times, but just nothing really happened. Justin Jefferson, I shit you not, halfway through the fourth quarter, this man was still on like 2-3 points. When the cards were down and they needed to win the game, Sam Darnold started feeding him again, and look what happened. He was up at 11 points. Still low by his standards, but much more like what I was expecting when I traded him. Hunter Henry, good week, 8.5 points. Gus Edwards. So J.K. Dobbins got put on IR. That happened after last week's recap, but before this game week, obviously. So I went out and got Gus Edwards, hoping that he would just slot straight into J.K. Dobbins' role. Hasn't really happened. Gonna have to work out what I'm going to do at my flex going forward. A little bit rough. Jason Sanders did dick all 3 points. Lions defense, pretty good, 11.86. I was happy with that. Over here, this is where I was really worried. Derrick Henry and Christian McCaffrey. These guys both have the ability to outscore Cook and Robinson combined on any given week. Let's be clear about that. Either of them, I genuinely believe, at their best, could outscore 57 points by themselves. I mean, Derrick Henry, I believe, has done it in this league. So I was really concerned about that, especially with McCaffrey being one of the last games to play. I mean, he was playing against Buffalo, but like, I was worried about that. Fortunately, Henry against Philly was relatively well contained. 16 points, still pretty good. And McCaffrey, heartbreakingly for me as a 49ers fan, but it worked out in my benefit in fantasy football, got injured in the third quarter, I believe, or maybe even earlier than that. He's done his PCL. He's out for the rest of the season. Absolutely heartbreaking for 49ers season, although our season was chalked anyway. Hopefully this isn't just like him now absolutely in that injury blender forever. Which really helped the fantasy thing. Amari Cooper managed to do worse than Cooper Kupp. Malik Neighbours did worse than Justin Jefferson, so we were all square there. Ferguson didn't play. ETN back to scoring some points. Outscored Gus Edwards. Aubrey outdid Sanders, and the 49ers defense conceding 35 points to the Bills, cost him 3 points as well. So what was genuinely, when I was going to bed Sunday night, so before Sunday Night Football, which was Baltimore Philly, and obviously 49ers Buffalo game, I was thinking I'm going to lose by like 15 points here. Fortunately, James Cook had an insane game, and McCaffrey and the 49ers defense managed to add 5 points, and all of a sudden I've won by 40 points. But I could have done better. Steelers defense, 16 points. I need to strip back them, because even when they concede 38 fucking points, their defense does so much they end up scoring. Harrison Jr. and Higgins both should have started, and that would have netted me an extra 13 points. So maybe I need to not worry about a third running back and just get one of them in at flex and kind of go from there. J.K. Dobbins will be taking up my second IR spot. We're going into the end of the season. I want them, both Godwin and Dobbins, with me to the bitter end, should it come to that. I don't know how many more points Tom had available. Nick Chubb scored 13, which would have been an upgrade over McCaffrey for 5. And he could have had Zay Flowers for 7, which would have been an extra 6. So he could have had an extra 11, which would have put him on 81. Still nowhere near winning the game. Next up, we've got James versus Dad, which was a big game for me. I needed Dad to lose this to have a better chance of climbing back up and reclaiming my bye week. That's the word. And it did happen. James is now 9-4. He's back to winning ways as well. Dad falls to 8-5. Very close game. Only 6 points in it in the end. Largely due to Lamar Jackson not breaking 30 points, which sounds insane. CeeDee Lamb, pretty poor game as well. Obviously, Taysom Hill only managed 6 points before getting injured. Overall, 126 points is going to win you more games than it doesn't in this league. But 6 points difference, where is it? Big one is Robinson over Pollard. Bates over Elliott. Chiefs D over Ravens D. But where does Dad really get the points back? Bucky Irving and Montgomery is a 52-1-2 punch. Absolutely blew Mixon and Jones out of the water. So that's 20 points back in Dad's favour there. 6 points was Lamar. You might have got a little bit lucky here, James. CeeDee Lamb probably had one of his worst weeks of the season. Pollard probably had one of his worst weeks of the season. You might have got a little lucky here. You definitely got a little bit lucky because of the decisions made in personnel. Dowd, 26 points. Would have been an extra 20 points over Pollard. Game lost instantly. Smith, an extra 7 points over Hill. That would have been enough to change the game. Adams, in for Pollard or Lamb. Realistically, you wouldn't ever bench Lamb. But still, another 9 points there. There was a lot of points left on this bench. And I don't think any of the decisions he would have needed to make to win this game would have been that's a ballsy decision. The only one I kind of back is Montgomery, Irving and Pollard on paper are definitely more reliable than Dowd. But up against the Giants with no Dak Prescott, they are going to rely on the run game a little bit more. And he's looked very good. So I might have been interested in that. Smith against Green Bay, I definitely would have taken over Taysom Hill. Purely because Smith has been getting a lot of love. And that's like Taysom Hill's very up and down. Craziness. But you left very few points on your bench, you say. 8 points with Smith and G. Bell would have been a 0.7 upgrade over Brown. Oh no, a whole point, sorry. No, 0.7 over Brown. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. You did very well. Isaiah Pacheco, he wasn't back to full reps this week, was he? But yeah, so you probably got quite lucky this week. But hey, you won the game. That's all that matters. That little gap there, that's all that matters. Right, next up. Oh, Pash beat Anchor in the end. I hadn't actually checked back up on this. I saw how close it was. Pash managed to just score enough to stay ahead of Anchor. 3 points in it. Let's see what happened. Oh, Cortland Sutton couldn't get the 15 points needed. Oof. Anchor's team is it's interesting. They are all big hitters. They are all heavyweights just throwing haymakers, and you got to hope they land. Like Jahmyr Gibbs and Breece Hall can both go nuts for 30 points very easily. These are the kind of players who could score 30 points in a half if shit goes really right. Josh Allen, again, 30 points. Cortland Sutton has been getting a lot of love out of Denver with Bo Nix. Marquez Valdes-Scantling is now the de facto number 1 wide receiver for New Orleans. Bit of an interesting choice. We'll see if she could have made a better one. Brock Bowers, 23 points. He's been an absolute stud. Might be the only talented player in Vegas. Oh, no, sorry, Max Crosby. Calvin Ridley's been very up and down, especially since like quarterback changes backwards and forwards and shit. All of a sudden, he seems to have been a bit more up and down. Clearly, it's a down week. Boswell, as James well knows, can score a lot of points as a kicker. Texans defense been pretty fucking solid. What was that? Oh, that's Tua. That's fine. Laporta, no points left on the bench. She's played a perfect lineup. It just wasn't enough. That's a rough one, but you just got to take it on the chin, really, haven't you? There's not a lot you can do when you played your optimum lineup. And it looks like we're not far off the perfect lineup on the other side. Jane Daniels outscores Josh Allen, which it sucks so much when your quarterback breaks 30 and they still don't outscore the other team's quarterback. Saquon Barkley, absolute stud, absolute MVP candidate. 25 points. Rashad White chipping in with 10. Metcalf manages 7. Pickens 13. Trey McBride 11. Darnell Mooney only 2. Clayme Fairbairn 13. Bucks defense 8. Yeah, she got matched in a lot of places and then just pulled away with by winning their matchups. Big change if you would have put Njoku in. Could have had an extra 7 points there. Could have had an extra point if you put Mason in, who is now also on IR apparently. But that is it. There's an extra 8 points to be had. So this is a pretty close game where people probably got what they deserved. Next up, Skip versus Phrase. Skip also wins. Now on a 3-game win streak. And I believe, does that leapfrog him over Anchor? It does. Anchor is now out of playoffs again. Especially coming up to the last week of the season. I don't know what their head-to-head standing is. Ooh, that'll be an interesting one to look at next week. Skip beat Phrase by about 20 points. Any big fuck-ups? McLaurin, 20 points, 2 touchdowns, huge. Josh Jacobs, you're welcome, 23 points. CJ Stroud, you're welcome, 17 points. Najee Harris, you're welcome, 23 points. Notice how 2 of his best scorers were from me. Meanwhile, the player I got from him, or one of the players I got from him, managed 10 points. I've been scammed. Pat Mahomes, another middling game. Swift and Walker both underperformed. You hate to see that. Tyreek Hill finally getting back above 10 semi-regularly. Drake London, based on watching a lot of that Falcons Chargers game, I would have guessed Drake London had broken 10 points. That's interesting. Ingram managed 5. Hubbard only managed 4. Ooh, that one stings. Younghoe Koo only managed 5. Chargers defense 26 points. So that was your big scorer right there. You're relying on one guy to get you close here, and you were still 20 points shy. Just an absolute blowout. Any points left on the bench? Doesn't look like it. 6, 8, 5. No, I mean, you could have had more wide receiver had he have played. Another player I gave him, Worthy. That would have got him a few more points there. Phrase could have played Nico Collins or Keenan Allen. Oh my god, that's 24 points over 13. He could have had an extra 11 points. He wouldn't have won in the game, but it would have had him a hell of a lot closer. Pat Freiermuth, another 8 points. That is then winning him the game territory. Oh my. Why are we starting Ingram over Freiermuth and anyone over Nico Collins? Oh, that was some poor decision making. And he got punished for it. And then finally, my favourite to win the entire fucking thing this year, Scott, wins again, 146 points. This man breaks 140 points for fun. Early in the week, I thought Ryan had a chance. 112 isn't a bad score. I really thought Ryan had a chance to cause a big upset late on here, but not happened. Scott has all but... Oh no, Scott absolutely has tied up the bye week now. Because even if I win and he loses, he has more points scored than me. So unless he scores like 0 and I score 200 points, I don't think I can leapfrog him. Anyway, let's see what happened here. Jordan Love, solid, 22 points. Achane and Connor, 27, that's not bad. 17 from your wide receiver room's a little low. Mark Andrews balled out, missing a wide receiver. 6 points from your kicker, Bills defense, 22 points. What's the big difference? I mean, the big difference is your flex. 20 versus nothing is huge. And then, of course, 22, 23, 20, 15. Your wide receiver room, your running back room gets 27 points. Theirs gets 45. Big swing. Your wide receiver room gets 17 points. Theirs gets 35. Big swing. Even winning 14 points back on the tight end makes no difference. And then you just give them the freebie of 20 points at flex, and it's game over. It doesn't matter what else happens, really. In fact, he's lucky he kept it within kind of 35 points here. However, did he leave points on the bench? He did. Jaden Reed, 17 points, would have been a 2-point upgrade over Chase. and K. Dotton would have been a not even 2-point upgrade of Kittle. And that is about it, I believe. So he played pretty damn well. Oh wait, 13 points at running back? No, all of his running backs pulled out. And there you go then. Kareem Hunt falling back down again with Pacheco being back. But it looks like everyone else is finally stepping up for him. Scott is absolutely my favourite to win it all. But that'll have to wait till later in the season. Let's head over to the Goldie 12 League. Here we are over at the Goldie 12 League, where we are also back to winning ways. Thank Christ. We were up against Josh this week, and early on, it was not looking good, folks. It was really not looking good. I was, once again, adamant that I was going to lose this week. But that was not the case in the end, as we did manage to come out victorious by 20-odd points as well. This is my high score in this league this season, which is pretty nice. Let's see exactly how we pulled it off. Bijan Robinson, again, making a serious case for our first entry into the Hall of Fame here. Jonathan Taylor, 17 points. Joe Burrow, 19. Nico Collins, 19. Tank Dell, 3. Hunter Henry, 14. Najee Harris, 24. Will Lutz, 11. Lions defense, 6. Everyone performed other than Tank Dell. This is about as good as it can get. Like, really, really happy with that. All skill positions broke 15 points other than Tank Dell. With a nice little chip in from your tight end, kicker, and defense as well. You're happy. I could have done more though, yeah. I could have had Fry move for an extra 4 over Henry. And I could have had Thomas for an extra 15. And is Drake May technically an upgrade? Drake May would have been an upgrade by 0.1. So my best lineup here, I think, would have had me on 4, 15.1. An extra 25 would have been about 160. But fortunately, it was enough to win. CJ Stroud only managed 14 points. Saquon Barkley and James Cook, who were scaring me, only managed 19 points apiece there, which wasn't enough, fortunately. DJ Moore, 23. Malik Neighbors, 15. This is why I was worried. I'm like, wow, that's a really good team. Where does it all go wrong? In this second half here, he loses out loads at the tight end. Loses out another chunk at flex. Another chunk at kicker, and then just a little bit more at defense. And that's where the difference is made there. Look, 9 points, 11 points, that's 20 points. 25, 27. Only won by 21. If you look from quarterback to wide receiver 2, he's up by 5 fucking points after that. The entire team really does contribute. Never underestimate the importance of a good flex and a good tight end. They are game winners, as well as kicker and defense. Very, very happy to see. I mean, look at this. You got out to an early lead, and I thought it was insurmountable. But then Bijan and I believe it was Bijan, Nico, and Jonathan Taylor all scored in like a bing, bing, bing. And all of a sudden, I've just gone whoop, straight ahead. Look at that graph. We intercept here, and we stay ahead, and we don't let them catch back up. It was very, very fun indeed. Next up, Josh is now on a 2-game win streak. He's up to 6 and 7. He is, I believe, technically not out of the playoff race. I don't know. It might be dependent on matchups. But he's not dead in the water just yet, I don't believe. At least not mathematically. 140 points as well. So it's a good week here. Tua 25. Achan 21. Worthy 10. McBride 20. Robinson 17. Dicker the kicker and the Chargers defense combining for 30. Everyone's kind of done their job. What? 2 guys didn't break 10 points. Ironically, wide receiver 1 and running back 1. Whereas on the flip side, only managed. Oh my god, yeah, Brock Bowers who scored 30 points. And he barely broke 100. No one help? No one? 16 from Goff. Not horrific. Connor and Stevenson only combined for 23. Only 12 points from your wide receiver room. 10 at flat. I don't know how you've only barely broken 100 points here. There's nothing left on your bench, really. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. This is not good at all. I mean, Josh was suffering with losing J.K. Dobbins as well, so he was short of running back that you would ideally have wanted. If J.K. Dobbins was in, he probably wouldn't have played Brees Hall. I'm really confused how you get 30 points from your tight end and then don't even break 100. Because what? This is 25 and then 27. That's 50. That's 80. You need 20 points. That's craziness. I really, really don't know how that's only barely broken 100 points here. I know numbers, how numbers work. It's just you look at them at a glance and you're expecting it to be more than 100 points. Crazy. There you go. Josh gets second win in a row. Luke's down on a 2-game loss streak. I don't know if either of them can make the playoffs, but they'll be hoping to. Next up, Mick wins and Wag loses. Wag managed 127 points. Wag would have beat 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams. So out of the 11 other teams in the league, he would beat 6 of them this week. Oh, Wag. What will we do with you? So, I mean, nothing's really gone wrong here for him. Oh my god, he had Jerry Jeudy. He actually started Jerry Jeudy, who scored 40 points, and it wasn't enough. How many people started Jerry Jeudy this week and lost? It can't have been many, can it? That's dreadful. Yeah, George Pickens. Darnold did okay. Montgomery did okay. Warren did okay. Pickens did okay. Addison did okay. Pitts did nothing. Jerry Jeudy scored 40 points. How has he lost by 16? I mean, the difference is kind of Kelsey, isn't it? You take Kelsey off, he's only lost by 3, and that's a lot more understandable. I guess 2 people scoring 27 adds up pretty fucking quick. And they had a bit of a difference at kicker and defense, but Christ alive. Well, any points left on the bench? Njoku with 26 would have given him an extra 13 at tight end. Chubb with 12.5 would have given him an extra 3. So he could have made an extra 16. So he could have got up to 159, Mick. Could Wag have done anything else? Murray 15, Noah Grant 9. 9 at tight end would have been helpful, would have had him all 137. He's got 3 tight ends on his roster, and he played the one who didn't get any points. He's got Shoemaker, Gray, and Pitts, and he's played the only one who got no points. That is actually diabolical. Cannot believe that's happened. Really, really rough. Hopefully Wag finds a way to win these last couple of weeks of the season. I don't know if he can take any more losses. George and Josh next up. George 140 points. Josh only 106. Pretty big margin of victory here. I mean, you never want your defense to be actively costing you points. He managed to start Brock Purdy, where he managed 2 points and still win. People must have balled out. Mixon 20 points, Jacobs 20 points, Evans 25 points, Jamar Chase 20 points, Marvin Harrison 17, kicker was 16. Oh my god. How often does your quarterback lose the quarterback matchup by 15 points and you win the game by 40? Can't be often. I mean, McLaurin got 27 points, for fuck's sake. Tyreek Hill got 20 points. It's just anyone who didn't ball out really did dick all. Swift was okay. That's about... Other than that, Cooper Kupp did nothing. Kittle did nothing. McPherson did half what his kick did, and his defense cost him points. 17... Once again, 3 tight ends on the roster, and he played the one who only managed a point. $1.7. 12.5, 17.1. Do you know how actually impressive it is to have 3 tight ends and make the worst possible decision? Dreadful. Next up, we got Cam versus Oscar. Much closer game. Is this our closest game of the week? I believe so. Only 5 points in it. Cam on a 2-game loss streak off list. Oscar back to winning ways. Both 7 and 6 are right on the bubble, as we can see here, with him in 5th of a playoff spot. Josh Allen, 28 points, will have been the difference maker on Sunday. Big defensive performances. 17 from the Cowboys defense and 15 from the Steelers. Flex battle was pretty impressive. Managed to win despite CeeDee Lamb not doing much. The big difference maker here is absolutely Josh Allen. He wins a little bit of running back as well. He loses big at wide receiver. He loses at tight end. He loses big at kicker and D. The 18 points from Josh Allen is a massive swing factor here. Josh Allen gives him 18. Defense gives him an extra 4. Is that right? No, an extra 9, sorry. So that's 27. And his wide receiver gives him, his flex gives him an extra 3. So he's up like 30 points from them 3 positions, and he wins by 5. So he got kind of beat pretty tidily across the board here, if not for Josh Allen's big day out. That is a close one. Oh, there was points left on the bench as well, I think. 19? 19 starts. 17.3 is no change. So you could have an extra 3 points there, which wouldn't have won in the game. Tracy at 14 points would have got in there and won in the game, though. If he'd have had Tracy, Reed, and London in place of Sutton, Walker, and Jefferson, he would have won. But you're never dropping Justin Jefferson. That's insanity. That's a rough one. That's a rough one for Gant. He'll have to hold that L. Look how close this was the entire way through. Oh boy. And finally, we've got Tony versus Ian. Ian loses again, and Tony continues his win streak, also right on that bubble, all the way down to 8th. By the way, is 7 and 6. I believe 4th is 7 and 6. And then all the way down to at least 8th is also 7 and 6. We've been trading wins in this league all season. Right. Lamar, good performance, especially compared to Mahomes. McCaffrey and Hubbard did nothing. Meanwhile, Henry and Dordal did pretty damn well. Mooney and Smith and Jigba did next to nothing. Meanwhile, AJ Brown and Lab McConkey did pretty damn well. Kincaid didn't see the field. Meanwhile, Smith managed 21 points. Jennings did okay, but nowhere near as well as Keenan Allen's 24 at flex. But the kicker defense combo of Bates and the Broncos absolutely blew Tucker and the Bucks out of the water. That's the big difference maker on this one. 31 there versus 12. That's a 20-point swing. That's most of your win right there. What more could have been done? Likely would have given him an extra 14 at tight end. That's basically it, I think. Is Jordan Love technically an upgrade? No, he's not. Yeah, so that's basically it. He could have had an extra point by playing Robinson instead of Brown. What about Ian, though? You could have had more points playing Justice Hill, but that's only 4. And that is literally it. There was nothing more Ian could do. He was cooked. Man's holding on to 2 defenses. Both of them were cheeks this week. Holding on to 2 kickers who are normally studs, and they're both having their worst years on record. Who the fuck is DeVale? This team is a monstrosity of everything that could possibly go wrong. Pat Mahomes having one of his worst years. Christian McCaffrey injured twice. Chuba Hubbard plays for the Panthers. Darnell Mooney has to receive passes from Kirk Cousins. Chicago Bears, one of the best situations of rookie quarterbacks ever landed in, they just don't look good. Justin Tucker has been so bad this year, he's no longer the most accurate kicker in NFL history. Bucks defense just had a bad week. Mark Andrews disappeared for the first half of the season. Justice Hill, not the most popular choice in Baltimore anymore. Justin Herbert, not being allowed to sling it as much. The Vale, don't even know who the fuck you are. Younghoe Koo, having one of his worst years on record. The 49ers, fucking dumpster fire at the minute. Ian is the curse. If there is anything going wrong with your football team right now, it is because of Ian. I'm calling it now. And that is it for this week's Fantasy Football Roundup. Make sure you like and subscribe. Don't forget to let me know down below how you're getting on in your league. Are you likely to win it all, or are you just forgetting about it and enjoying the NFL for what it is at the minute? Thank you for always hanging out, and I'll see you in a bit.